tlinClark's latest performance has the entire league talking a triumphant return, a masterclass in playmaking, and a star reaffirming her place at the pinnacle of women's basketball. There are performances that win games, and then there are performances that shift conversations. tlinClark, the Indiana Fever's transcendent 24-year-old guard, delivered the latter on Wednesday night in Los Angeles. In front of a buzzing Crypto.com arena crowd, a building more accustomed to the Clippers and Lakers, Clark orchestrated an 87-78 Indiana Fever victory over the Los Angeles Sparks with 24 points and 9 assists, sending ripples across the entire league and reigniting a debate that never really went away. Is tlinClark already the most important player in women's basketball? The short answer, judging by the reactions pouring in from across the WNBA landscape, is an emphatic yes. Statistics rarely tell the full story of a basketball game, but sometimes they come close. Clark's final line, 24 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block, was the kind of stat sheet that commands attention regardless of context. She shot 9 of 17 from the field, got to the rim repeatedly, controlled the pace of the game, and when Indiana needed a dagger, she provided it. With 4:51 remaining in the fourth quarter, and the Sparks mounting a late charge, Clark nailed her first three-pointer of the evening, her 7th attempt from beyond the arc, to extend Indiana's lead to 78-63 and effectively end the contest. It was a signature moment, patient, composed, and brutally efficient when it mattered most. Clark's scoring was complemented beautifully by Kelsey Mitchell, who dropped 23 points on 7 of 9 shooting in the first half alone, an extraordinary display of efficiency that gave Indiana a dominant 48-34 halftime cushion. The Clark-Mitchell partnership, which has quietly become one of the most dangerous backcourt combinations in the WNBA, was at its collaborative best. While Mitchell torched the Sparks' defense with her off-the-dribble scoring, Clark probed, dissected, and distributed, her 9 assists a testament to a player who remains as committed to the collective as she is capable of carrying a team on her own. Sophie Cunningham added a steady 12 points off the bench, and Monique Billings made her regular season debut with a solid 9 points and 8 rebounds to give Indiana depth and physicality in the frontcourt. Meanwhile, veteran Myisha Hines-Allen quietly reached a personal milestone, recording her 500th career assist during the contest. For the Sparks, Kelsey Plum continued her fine early season form with 25 points, repeatedly testing Indiana's defense and engineering a dangerous 11-3 run late in the fourth quarter that briefly made the game interesting. But Clark's poise under pressure and Mitchell's clinical finishing saw Indiana close it out emphatically, with Clark finding Mitchell on an inbounds play for a layup with 33 seconds left to make it a 9-point game and seal the win. Context is everything. The road back. To fully appreciate what Clark is doing right now, one must understand what she endured to get here. The 2025 WNBA season was, by any measure, a nightmare for Clark from a personal standpoint. What began as a left quad injury in training camp quickly cascaded into a series of demoralizing soft tissue setbacks throughout the year. A different left quad sprain 4 games into the season, a left groin sprain a month later, a right groin sprain shortly after. Then, just as she attempted to return for the postseason, a left ankle bone bruise ended her campaign entirely. Clark missed the WNBA All-Star Game, held in Indianapolis for the first time, the bulk of the regular season, and the postseason run in which her Indiana Fever teammates, without her, remarkably pushed the eventual champion Las Vegas Aces to the brink of elimination. For a player who had appeared in every one of Iowa's 139 games across her 4-year college career, who had thrived under pressure, and who had been named Rookie of the Year in 2024, the experience of watching from the sidelines through a revolving door of injuries was, as she described it, a genuine mental battle. The rehab process stretched across months. Pickup games in Indianapolis gave glimpses, but it was in San Juan, Puerto Rico, during Team USA's FIBA World Cup qualifying tournament opener in early 2026, that Clark truly signaled she was back. Within the first 90 seconds of meaningful game action in 8 months, she had 2 assists. Before the first quarter ended, she had buried one of her trademark deep threes, the kind that made NBA scouts do double takes during her college days and made defenders groan in recognition. Indiana Fever general manager Amber Cox, who had flown to Puerto Rico specifically to see it, allowed herself to exhale for the first time in months. What followed across Clark's first 2 WNBA appearances of the 2026 season has reinforced every reason for optimism. She is averaging 22.0 points per game, and while her three-point shooting remains a work in progress as she refines her range, just 3 of 16 from deep through 2 games. The production, the aggression, and the playmaking have all been present in abundance. A league that watches her every move. What makes Clark's performances so consequential extends well beyond the stat sheet. From the moment she was drafted first overall by the Indiana Fever in 2024, Clark has operated in a unique cultural space, part athlete, part cultural phenomenon, part economic engine for women's basketball at large. The 2026 WNBA season opened its 30th campaign with a slate of storylines, expansion teams, new rivalries, the debut of the Toronto Tempo, and the Portland Fire's resurrection. Yet through all of it, the question hovering over every conversation was the same. How will tlinClark look? When she posted 20 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds in the Fever's opening day loss to the Dallas Wings, a game that went to 107-104 in a high-octane contest, the narrative machine went into overdrive. Some saw the loss and questioned the Fever's championship ceiling. Others saw Clark's performance and marveled that a player returning from a year essentially lost to injury could step in and perform at that level. Both reactions, in their own way, confirm the same truth. The WNBA watches tlinClark the way the NBA watches its transcendent stars. Every game carries weight. Every box score is dissected. Every moment of brilliance, and every setback becomes part of a rolling, evolving conversation about greatness and potential. Clark's performance against the Sparks added another compelling chapter, not because it was perfect. Her three-point shooting continues to be a point of focus, but because of what it communicated about her competitive identity. She drove to the rim with purpose, drew contact, and spoke publicly afterward about officiating, noting that she felt she could have had more calls given the contact she absorbed. It is a familiar refrain. The debate over whether referees protect Clark adequately has shadowed her career since her WNBA debut. But Clark, rather than seething, responded with characteristic directness. Acknowledge the frustration, say your piece, move on. The focus remains on winning. Clark's return to health is not merely good news for her individually, it transforms Indiana's outlook entirely. The Fever finished the 2025 season without their marquee player and still competed fiercely, a testament to the talent surrounding Clark in Indianapolis. Kelsey Mitchell remains one of the league's most explosive scorers, capable of erupting for 20-plus points on any given night as she demonstrated against Los Angeles. Aaliyah Boston, the 2023 Rookie of the Year, provides interior presence and defensive versatility that gives Indiana a balanced identity. Now with Clark operating as the engine, running pick and roll, dragging defenses, and finding teammates in the rhythm of her orchestration, the Fever have legitimate championship aspirations. The addition of Myisha Hines-Allen adds another dimension. Her experience, her stretch four capabilities, and her explicit desire to play alongside one of the game's generational talents gives Indiana a versatility in their front court rotations that opposing coaches will need to account for. Across the roster, there is a sense that this group believes their moment is coming. The WNBA West remains formidable. The Las Vegas Aces, despite their opening weekend stumble against the Phoenix Mercury, possess the depth and championship pedigree to contend. The Dallas Wings, who beat Indiana in the season opener on the strength of Paige Bueckers and first overall pick Azzi Fudd, represent a tantalizing young force that will only grow stronger with time. But as the league's established storyline and its most consequential individual performer, Clark and Indiana occupy the center of every conversation heading into the heart of the season. The bigger picture. Clark and the state of women's basketball. Beyond wins and losses, beyond individual statistics, there is something larger worth acknowledging whenever tlinClark plays. Women's basketball is in the midst of a genuine renaissance, and while the sport's growth is the product of many factors, structural improvements, expanded media coverage, a cohort of remarkable young talent, Clark's emergence has served as an accelerant unlike anything the WNBA has experienced since its formative years. The financial reality of the league has shifted. Arenas fill differently. Broadcast viewership numbers have moved. The cultural conversation has broadened. pulling in audiences who previously paid little attention to women's basketball and keeping them engaged through the sheer force of Clark's skill and personality. Free agents have cited the opportunity to play alongside her as a factor in their decisions, a form of star gravity more commonly associated with the NBA. None of this diminishes the other players who make the WNBA extraordinary: Breanna Stewart, Aja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Paige Bueckers, and dozens more. But it reflects the reality of what Clark has come to represent: a tipping point, a cultural bridge, and a competitive force simultaneously. When she plays well, as she did Wednesday night against the Sparks, the entire ecosystem benefits. What comes next? Clark and the Fever return home to Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Friday to host the Washington Mystics. The schedule will intensify. The competition will not ease. Her three-point shooting, the one genuine question mark in her early season performances, will be tested further as defenses make adjustments and contest her pull-up more aggressively. But the trajectory is unambiguously upward. A player who spent the better part of a year in rehabilitation, who endured a procession of soft tissue setbacks that would have dented anyone's confidence, has returned to the WNBA and averaged 22 points per game through 2 appearances. She is distributing at an elite level, playing with assertiveness in the paint, and competing with the kind of edge that made her the defining player of the college basketball generation she dominated at Iowa. The entire league is talking about tlinClark. The reasons are not complicated. She is exceptional, she is compelling, and she is only getting started. The conversation, one suspects, is going to keep growing for years to come.